Welcome to r/EntitledParents, where when this entitled kid gets OP's Reddit, Discord, and Facebook account banned, his entitled mum blames OP instead of her own son. My son is upset because he got banned using your accounts, and that's your fault. A friend of the family, who I always had to call aunt, is a woman who has a teenage son that I always had to call cousin that is on the autistic spectrum. She's usually nice, but is a total Karen when it comes to her son. She and her son came to our house to stay for a couple of days because they were traveling for vacation. She arrived sometime before my friend came to pick me up for work, so I was giving them company. Her son is 16 and isn't dumb at all. He speaks almost 3 languages, but he can be really childish, so I gave him my phone to play with. Then the woman started her speech about how social networks are evil and only cause damage, are full of lies and predators, except for her Facebook of course. Then finally my friend arrived, so I just ran and went on my merry way. I didn't realize that I didn't have my phone until several hours later. When I came back from work, she was angrily waiting for me. I could hear her son crying in a room. My phone was on the table and my family was looking at me weird. Now I couldn't think of any reason for that behavior, so I asked, and the woman handed me my phone. My Facebook account was suspended. I was banned from a subreddit. I had several messages from my friends telling me that someone was using my accounts, and I had some angry messages on other social media platforms. This is what happened. Since her son wasn't allowed to have social networks, and the mum didn't realize that he still had my phone, he had browsed through all my phone's social network and communication apps, subscribed to several accounts related to his favorite movies and books, and then started to argue with everyone about the books in different platforms. Then he went to Discord and got expelled, went to Reddit and got banned from a subreddit. When his begs didn't work to lift the ban, he then went to Facebook to complain on the fan page of the book and got me suspended for insulting the people that didn't agree with him. Then he tried to get help from other platforms and got some more fans angry at me. But when I arrived home, his mum was angry at me because his son couldn't enjoy his book anymore because of the bad time he got. Then she scolded me and contradicted herself because she was angry, telling me how bad social networks are, but also telling me how it was my fault her son got exposed to such a horrible time. I explained to her that he got me banned, not himself, and that he could just make his own accounts, but she didn't want that. She wanted him to get unbanned because it made him feel unwelcome, and he couldn't have his own accounts because social networks are evil, but he could use mine. My family was understanding, but since the kid was feeling bad, I just sighed and tried. Facebook was a lost cause. The Reddit mod thought I was lying and being childish. The Discord mod was understanding after a little talk, and the people on the other apps were a mixture of understanding and just thinking I was a butthole. My aunt still thinks it was all my fault, and is angry at me even after I explained that I was the only one harmed here. She thinks I didn't get unbanned from the other social networks because I was being mean, and she's probably gonna believe that for years if other situations like this one come up. Now I've just gotta hope that this doesn't happen again until they leave. And also, her husband called, apologizing. Look, I can understand her desire to protect her son, but I can't control the internet's response. Well, there you go, guys. It makes a lot of sense to me. Your own kid getting someone else's Reddit, Discord, Facebook, whatever other social media's account banned, yet no, it's not your kid's fault, it's their fault, OP's fault. It makes a lot of sense to me. It really does. It's actually ridiculous that she blames you for all of that, yet still doesn't let her own son make his own accounts or give him her phone for him to try, you know. It's weird. Like, you've done a nice thing there by giving him your phone, yet no, it's your fault. Makes a lot of sense, woman. Now, before we get into today's second post, I need to tell you about Roman, the sponsor of today's video. Trust me, if you're a bloke, you're gonna wanna listen to this. Did you know that 52% of guys have done or will experience erectile dysfunction? Seriously, more of us experience ED than don't. But even though it is so common, many guys are ashamed of having ED. Let's be honest, it can massively impact not just your life, but your partner's too. But here's the good news. Roman is here to help. Roman is a digital health clinic for men, which utilizes US licensed medical professionals to provide effective FDA-approved treatments for ED. The best part about it is the convenience. It all happens from the comfort of your own home. The process is very simple. First, go to getroman.com/Redditor. You'll then receive your diagnosis, and next, your medication will be delivered right to your door in discreet, unmarked packaging. If you use my link, your initial online visit and/or follow-ups will be absolutely free. You'll get free 2-day shipping stopping on any medication prescribed, and you'll get $15 off your first month of treatments. Oh, and Roman also deals with premature ejaculation, hair loss, and many more concerns for men. Whatever you need, they've got you covered. So to get started, head to getroman.com/Redditor and jumpstart 2022 by taking care of your sexual health. Alright then, now getting back into the stories. Entitled mum doesn't think she needs to parent her child because he has autism. I correct her and shame her into parenting. For some context, I live in a basement apartment with my husband and our dog, who, as well as being a service animal, loves kids and is very mild-mannered. We've been having issues with our upstairs neighbours since November in regards to loud stomping, furniture being slammed, and loud screaming. I've been up to talk to them about it several times, and last night I reached my breaking point. I went upstairs to ask them to please stop stomping, as my husband works early mornings and was trying to sleep for work. When she opened the door, I could see that the small 2-bedroom apartments had no less than 6 adults and 4 kids inside of it. I calmly asked them to stop the stomping, and since this is the 3rd time I've had to ask in the last 4 months, the next time it got this bad, I'd be lodging a complaint with the property management company. My neighbour had a friend over who has a 3-year-old who is on the spectrum and was the one stomping the hardest, causing the most amount of noise. Her friend gets a sour look on her face and started chirping at me from across the room. You live in a basement apartment and he has autism. What the heck do you expect me to do? There's gonna be some noise. Okay, I get that I live in the basement, but stomping until picture frames fall off my walls is a different story. Well, he has autism. What the heck do you expect me to do? Put some slippers on him, or maybe secure some pillows to his feet. If he absolutely has to stomp his feet, let him lay on the sofa and kick the back of it, or let him kick the wall if it needs to be something hard. Well, he likes dinosaurs, and he gets excited when he sees them, and when he gets excited, he stomps his feet. Then don't show him a movie with dinosaurs. You just don't get it. He has autism. No, I get it. I worked with kids with needs for 3 years. I worked with a kid who loved to stomp, and when he needed to, I would wrap his feet in foam and let him go to town on a sound dampening mat I picked up for him to stomp on. Oh, well, I guess he could quiet it down a bit. Yeah, look, this is a tough one, guys, and don't get me wrong, I imagine that parenting a kid that has autism is much harder than parenting a kid that doesn't. That's completely fine, I accept that. It's going to be a lot harder, but just because your child has autism, it doesn't mean you stop parenting them, or teaching them things, you know, or educating them, or, you know, at least doing something to help other people around you. Like OP said, you could just buy a mat, like take a mat with you and let your child stomp on that. Look, don't stop them from stomping, that's one thing, but at least minimize the damage caused to other people is what I'm trying to say. I disagree with the dinosaur thing though. Like, if the kid enjoys dinosaur movies, let the kid watch dinosaur movies. But, I don't know, put some socks or some slippers on. I do agree with that. A mat or something. Or just let him stomp on the sofa, not on the floor, especially after lots of noise complaints. That's a little bit ridiculous. And now for our 3rd entitled parent story. Taking her butthole children to court. I am a 22-year-old woman, and I am, alongside my older brother, who is 23, and our oldest sister, who is 31, being taken to court by our birth giver. This all started back in October of 2021. Our father, who we'll just call Dad, reached out and told us that he was diagnosed with cancer, which obviously devastated us. Our mother, who we'll call the C word, found out through one of our siblings that we no longer associate with. Constant lying, animal abuse, etc. Long story, okay, maybe one for another time. My older brother, who we'll just call Bro, found out that my dad went to our mum's house to tell our younger brother. He's 18, we'll call him Buddy. Dad called Buddy and told him what was going on, while my brother and our mum were there. Our mum started throwing a fit. For a little while, Dad was okay, still able to do his usual housework, take care of our brother, 18, we'll call him Baby, with cerebral palsy, and had started immunotherapy. Things were all right. When December came around though, Dad wasn't doing good. He went in for a round of radiation and came home throwing up and dry heaving with no signs of stopping. Baby's nurse told Dad that she needed someone to come to the house that would be physically able to take care of Baby, otherwise she'd have to place him into a nursing facility. Dad called my brother, who messaged me and my sister telling us what was going on. Now, I didn't have to work that day, and considering my sister has kids and my brother had to work, I said I'd go up there and do it. I figured this would be short term, but boy was I wrong. I've been there for a week now, when Dad and I are awake having a 1 AM conversation. Dad says, "Honey, I don't know that I'm going to make it through this weekend." Dad? What are you talking about? I can see how much muscle mass I'm losing. And considering I can't even get out of bed on my own or use the bathroom myself, I think I need to go to a hospital. I don't want to lay here on my bed and die. At this moment, I start freaking out, trying to figure out what to do. Because I have osteoarthritis in most of my joints, and I know I couldn't take care of baby long term. Call your brother and sister. I'll tell them what's going on, and I'll wait for them to get here before we call an ambulance to come and get me. I'm crying at this point, and I call my siblings to get them there at 3 a.m. So, my siblings show up, we sit with our dad until he's ready to go. My brother and I decide that since we are the two most readily available, we'll alternate taking care of baby. My sister says she'll help take care of baby's paperwork and help dad make up a living will and power of attorney. We all agree to not tell our mum C-word about it because she attempted to prevent dad from getting guardianship of baby prior. My parents have been officially divorced since 2009. She hasn't seen or interacted with baby in 12 years. We as siblings have taken care of baby with the carefully written instructions provided by our dad and with the help of his home health nurses. Cue early January. Our mum is fuming that I didn't show up for Christmas at her house. I was taking care of baby and had less Christmas plans than my siblings, so I didn't mind. The three of us then sit down and decide that sooner or later, we're gonna have to tell our mum about what we've been doing, because she's starting to get suspicious. My brother says that he'll tell her, because he isn't afraid to go toe-to-toe with her. My sister and I both tell him to call us when he tells her, so we can all talk about it together. So, my brother goes over to her house at 3 a.m. and tells her everything alone. Cue the narcissistic behavior. Our mum sends a message in a Facebook group chat to me, my boyfriend, my brother's fiance, my sister, and my sister's husband. She tells all of us that we're so deceitful and she never raised us to be such terrible people, as well as, "I'm baby's mum and I can't believe you've made decisions for my child without consulting me." My sister steps in at this point and tells her that not only has she not made a decision for baby in years, but we were raised to step up and take care of our family when in need. My sister proceeded to call out all of her abusive behavior in regards to not only the three of us, but also Buddy and her 2 kids. My mum basically said that none of it happened that way and brought up her 3 strokes that she had 6 years ago. She started pitching some nonsense about how her family and my stepfather failed her when the 14-year-old, me at that time, had taken on the workload of an adult. I've raised my younger siblings, minus baby, since I was a child. When the strokes happened, I ended up having to raise and take care of her too. She kept saying that baby is her kid, and she's so upset that we'd go behind her back and not consult her because she knows more than us about him. She ended up blocking most of us, then proceeded to make another Facebook group with my boyfriend, my brother's fiance, my sister's husband, and a bunch of family members, telling them to support her kids but don't get involved, and that it's time for dad to pay for everything he's done the last 24 years. She then proceeded to turn off all service to my brother and Buddy's phones. We're on a family plan, while Buddy was at wrestling practice at school. She turned her anger onto Buddy and was telling him he's an adult, and if he doesn't do things her way, then he's in trouble. Going as far as telling him that he can rent the laundry room to use to wash his own laundry if he forgets his clothes in the dryer, and sending him text pages of chores for him to have done by the time she got home. And he told her that he'd do it when he got home from wrestling practice. She got home at 1 a.m. and yelled at him until 4 a.m. and then he got up for school 2 hours later. She harassed him throughout the school day, and when he got home, told him he had until 11 p.m. to get his stuff and get out of her house. My sister went and picked him up. He got anything he needed and wanted, and he now lives with me and my sister. Our mum then went into the family group chat and basically told the family we put her in a corner, so she attacked back, casually leaving out the part where she was texting my brother's fiance telling her that we are the buttholes. She put in for an emergency hearing for baby to the court, saying that he's been without medicine and care, even though we not only have refilled his medicine when needed, we've set up his new doctors as well. Dad's lawyer says that she has no legs to stand on, especially since she hasn't had contact with him in 12 years. And our mum even admitted that in one of our texts to us, which was of course submitted as evidence against her. So now the three of us have to appear in court against her. I'll update you guys when that happens. Well then, bit of a roller coaster of a story, lots to unpack. I think the main takeaway is your mum, who you don't even call mum at this point, just the C word, is a lunatic. I don't really understand her motives. She just seems pretty crazy, and I think it's okay just to leave my summary at that, really. Like, listen, I could go through everything that she did, but none of it makes any sense. I don't even know why she's getting involved in the first place. I see several restraining orders coming her way in future, and it's a good thing that she's not really involved in your lives anymore. Simple as that. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want more from this subreddit and me straight away, I've got a video up on screen for you to click it and keep watching, because it's sensational stuff. I can assure you of that. If you are new to the channel, hit this button here, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow for another daily Reddit video.